we go. There we go.
All
There we
right.
go. There we go. Oh, that's a bass, folks.
Is it?
That's a bass. That ain't no crappie, son. What's going on here?
You are a bass fisherman.
Well, that's true. You put a drop shot in my hand, you can almost guarantee, Art, that
Not a giant, but he's a keeper.
on Art's rig. I gotta be careful with this little dude. That little hook, I don't know how well he's got it. Not very good. He got the minnow, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got you. Looky there.
Nice.
It's not a crappie, but it's a bass.
It's nice.
That's what you get though when you fish the same areas that bass like to hang out.
Well,
right?
yeah, in this type of stuff, you'll catch bass, crappie, bluegill, yellow bass,
Folks,
and catfish. And
how awesome is that?
Just slip that drop shot, or that,
How awesome is that? Folks, today we're at Roosevelt Lake, and I cannot believe I've got one of my favorite guys ever. Growing up, I loved him to death, Art Chamberlin, the crappie guide, the guy that I mean, I hate to tell you this, and I don't want to just, make your head swell too much, but you're a legend in Arizona. I gotta let you know that.
well, I got Matt Shura for a PR guy.
That's what you got. You got Matt Sheriff for a PI guy. Art's been around this, you've guided on this lake here at Roosevelt for how long? How many years?
31 years.
31 years.
And fishing
We
at
came out
40.
here, yeah, we came out here to crappie fish. And of course, if you're crappie fishing in the area, sometimes where we're fishing, you're gonna catch some bass, right?
Absolutely.
So that was our first fish of the day, but we're getting started out here. Hopefully we catch some crappie today. But Art, I'm gonna tell you something. He's done a lot of tournaments. When I was a kid, I remember him being in the tournaments. I grew up watching you, and I always hear about the crappie fishing, even at my restaurant, wherever I go. Hey, how's Art doing? How's Art doing? Everybody's always asking, how's Art doing? So Art, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, you've been doing good? You're still doing some seminar work?
Doing some seminars, be at the Sports Expo next spring, and Bass Pro Shop, I think the first week of December. You'll have to check online, but we're talking about doing one the first week of December and covering crappie and having possibly a game and fish there to talk about the habitats we're fishing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're doing today. They dropped a lot of habitat in Roosevelt Lake, and the crappie are just getting stacked up along with it. Art has done his homework now, folks. Now, let me tell you something. He pulls out the little black book. He's got everything marked. He knows exactly what he's doing. He does his homework, and probably more so than me or Matt do. I'm telling you, you've got it down.
Well, I'm retired.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. He's retired now. But I've learned more in a half hour just bringing him out before we even started fishing than I have in years about crappie fishing. I never even knew it was like this. And hopefully we get something going today. Caught a bass right off the bat, but it gets something started. But I'm looking forward to seeing some, what'd you call it, sockeye?
Sockeye. I just want to mention real quick though, these habitats, and I've found 18 of the 20 of them. There's 2 of them that don't match up with the coordinates. But I want to give a big shout out. Rich and Sue Pratt are good friends of mine, and Rich helped me program these in to where I can go right to them.
Awesome. Awesome.
And start fishing.
Well, that's awesome. We're gonna see if we can catch some fish off of them, so stick around. You need to hook me up another minnow. I can't believe this is the first time I've ever fished with a live bait since I was a kid. And we're throwing little jigs, but we're also throwing minnows too, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. Stay tuned.
I can get you one, but the price just went up.
That's funny. Start with the hook, right?
Start with the hook facing towards the rod tip. They make the eyes smaller on these every year. I put that on facing the rod tip, then I go ahead and put my drop shot weight on. Pull that up in there. And I always tie a granny knot on it. I know a lot of people don't, but I just do that, keeps it from accidentally falling off. Now, I take my hook and I go about the distance, and I just guess at it that I want to be from the drop shot weight. And I pinch the line together, doubling it up. Go around my fingers, creating a loop, and I go through that loop once, twice, 3 times. And this is the same thing Casey and I do bass fishing.
Wow.
I wet it, I draw it up, and like I say, I know people are skeptical about that breaking, but we have landed a flathead over 15 pounds on this.
Well,
Then I take and put a plastic bait on, in this case a little 1.5-inch Bass Pro tube jig. And I run that up on there. And I'm not going to do it now, but a lot of times I just put just a drop of super glue to keep that there. Then I put a little bit of Mega Strike scent on it.
and why are you using the scent?
Just extra initiative for them to hit it.
All right.
And I always run it up my line just a little bit. Now I take a live minnow out of the minnow bucket over here. And I take and hook them as close to the front, up through the bottom lip and out the top lip. And that is your...
That's my drop shot rig.
That's your drop shot.
That's what I'm throwing for a drop shot rig.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about, son. Look at that thing. Hi, little dude. Got him.
All right.
Got that one.
All right.
I got that one, Art.
Hope you got the right species.
Nope. Oh, I
Yes,
do. I
you
do.
do.
I do.
Swing him up in here.
Looky there, little paper mouth.
Yes, sir.
I think we found a good little spot.
I think
Look
so.
at that, huh, folks? Now that's not a giant crappie
No,
compared to
no.
what we're getting, what you see in this lake, but
Right.
that is a crappie.
That's right.
You know, Art, can you explain a little bit about, I know folks at home are wondering, okay, what are they using? What's the line? I'm throwing braid, I'm throwing my drop shot rig, but explain to them what we're doing and the
I've
rod
got-
you're using.
I've got the jig rod at the moment. It's an 8-foot 2-inch rod, but on both my drop shot and my jig rod, I start out with medium light action rod.
Okay, that's what I got
And,
here.
Yeah, and I use a fairly small reel.
That's a 200?
Yeah, this is a different brand, but it's, yeah, a 200 small reel. I do use pretty much the same line as I use for bass as far as my main line.
For your braid.
12-pound braid.
Okay.
And I like the high vis. I can
All right.
detect strikes a little better.
You can see it.
And then I tie with a knot I saw on the Johnny Johnson show that fell up at the refined Alberto.
Yep, that Alberto knot.
That is so slick.
I know.
I taped that and watched it about 12 times and picked right. And then I use a fluorocarbon leader. Right here I've got 5-pound test fluorocarbon. And then on the jig rod, I tie a little loop knot so that when the jig is down there, it will set natural instead of up and down. And then we kind of showed, didn't we, already how we rigged and tied
Yes.
the...
We already showed
yeah,
that.
so, and I usually put that about 15 inches above. That way if I break a weight or two off, I can put another weight on. And that 12-14 Eagle Claw extra light hook, a lot of times you can catch in a tree or habitat, straighten it back out, put your minnow on and go again.
Gotcha, gotcha.
That's pretty much it.
Awesome rig, awesome rig. And you know, something we were talking about earlier when we came out here, fishing's not quite what we were hoping for. It's not
No.
like, you know, one fish after another, but you were talking a little bit about the barometric pressure. I think a lot of people at home don't understand that. Can you explain a little bit about the barometric pressure on these fish?
Yeah, the barometric pressure, as I understand it, and what my theory I've learned from Bill Dance many, many years ago, that a rapidly rising or rapidly falling barometric pressure will make the crappie in particular, all fish somewhat, but it'll make a crappie feel like we do when we have the flu.
Wow.
Now, we're going to eat a little soup or something when we have the flu, but we're not going to eat a big meal.
No.
So we've got to be very precise and put our baits right in front of their nose and hope that they'll eat it. On a good day, when things are right, sometimes you can't keep them off of it. So,
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Well, it's your turn.
okay, thank
You let me catch 2 fish. Boy, he's been gracious to me today, allowing me to catch the first couple of fish, but it's his turn now.
I even dumped mine. You get your own minnow?
You
or-
maybe, yeah, I'll get,
So-
I feel comfortable throwing this drop shot rig. That's probably a lot of it. I was throwing the jig for a little while, and I know you know, that thing catches a lot of fish, but when you said, hey, I'll put you on a drop shot, I'm like, hey, now you're in my wheelhouse, you know?
Lift that net over here and hand me a minnow also.
All right.
Whatever it was down there got my minnow.
See, there you go. I just got bit again.
Well, you do it too much, I may have to go to my drop shot.
You better go to that drop shot.
Look at the fish on the screen right now.
I know, we lit them up right there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, there's another. That one's a little bit bigger than that last one.
Yep.
That was a little bit bigger than the last one. Look at that. All right, Art.
Good job, Johnny.
Little sucker lie.
Yep.
Look at that. They're fun to catch. Your kids would have a blast doing this.
Oh, they would.
And you know what's really cool about what Art's showing us today, folks? We'll let him go. Is you can bring, you know, your kids or folks out. You don't have to worry about them throwing those big old crankbaits with treble hooks and getting hooked up and all that. This kind of fishing's a lot of fun.
Open the bail and drop it down.
Open the bail and drop it down. Now the ticket is, though, you got to learn how to read a graph a little bit.
Yep.
Because you find these habitats in here or an edge where they're at, you got to be able to know that, hey, there's fish down there and do that. But I'll tell you, other than that, you know, that part of it, once you figure that part of it out, it's a lot of fun. It really is. And we're fishing in what, 27 foot of water, so.
And you know, I know we practice catch and release, and I think people should, but to take a few of these home and for a fish dinner,
oh, there you go.
Tremendous eating. There we
go. Did you get him? That one a better one?
I don't know. Oh, he come off.
Are you serious?
Doggone it. Sure did.
They're down there, huh?
Got my minnow.
You need
I
another
had him
minnow?
halfway up. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Here, take this one. There you go. Got him?
Got him.
I'll help you out the best I can.
Somebody has to.
Did you get him?
Yeah.
All right, he got him. Boy, look at that rod bow. And there you have it. Oh, that's bigger than one I caught.
Well, of course.
What do you think, you're the crappie master or something?
No.
That is fun. That's a nice one. These are black crappie.
All black crappie.
Yep.
We do have black nose crappie in this lake now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna need your pliers for this one, Johnny.
Right here you go.
He did eat it.
Look at that. Good job, Art.
Thank you. That was no minnow either.
Now that was on the jig. Show that jig. That's got a little blue to it.
Yeah, this is a little teardrop jig. Kurt Rambo come up with this outfit right here, and he's the master of this jigging technique. And it's about 3/16 of an inch, of an ounce, I should say. And that little fishy on there is Cream Lures makes that, and that's been a real standby out here lately for crappie.
Let me get you a new minnow. You know, a lot of it's about timing, right? I mean, you say that, you know, you didn't want us to come out here till after 7 o'clock.
Right.
Most guys would be up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be out here.
Yeah, I've been out here at first light, but they're just not biting until later on in the morning. I think they like to sleep in as much as we do, but you know, one thing I mentioned, Johnny, is the fact that if you walk into Bass Pro Shop and walk straight back towards the fishing department and look at that fish tank, that aquarium,
right. Yep.
They've got in the middle of that, just a little bit off center, they've got a nice tree in there and 6 or 7 crappie, I'm not sure exactly how many. When I walk in the store, that's the first place I go. And I look at that, and if those crappie are buried down in that tree, they're not catchable. But if you walk in there and if they're up around that tree, the perimeter of that tree, then you can catch every one of those crappie.
Okay.
And that's exactly what they do out here. They bury in the habitat or structure when they're off their feed, and they come up and move around that habitat on the tops or structure that you're fishing when they're active.
Gotcha.
And that's part of your timing situation.
You want to take a kid fishing and have a blast, this is the kind of fishing to do. This is a lot of fun, and I'll tell you what, Art's been fishing this lake since, what did you say, the early 70s?
76, or January 76.
Mid 70s, and he knows this lake like the back of his hand. Now, in saying that, what makes Art so great on this lake is the fact that whether this lake is empty or whether it's full, just like this, he knows where to find the fish. He knows exactly where they go, and that's the ticket. Look at that. That was bigger than my last one.
Johnny, why don't you point them out for the people on the screen, what we're doing here?
Yeah, if you take a quick little poke here, little look, what we have down there is there's some habitat down there. Okay, you have the bottom, right down there is some habitat, but in that habitat, it's laid down. It's hard to see, the trolling motor's going back and forth, but every once in a while you'll see a hump up. There's some trees and things down in that area, but all those fish are in there. Now, if I want to, I can we zoom up on it, one-time zoom on this thing, and that way all these fish that are not stuck to the bottom like that, all that's fish down in there, we're staying in one place. So it's not going to show all the arcs all the time unless they're swimming through, but they're just laying on the bottom in there in the trees and in the habitat that's down there. And we're just you can feel it pulling up over the branches and over the habitat, and usually they're right on top of it, or they're in it coming out of it.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun. Well, Art, I think we had a great time today on the show.
I know we had a good time.
That's right. I always have a good time. But the thing is today was a special treat for me because I always wanted to go fishing with you. I appreciate you coming out here and sharing the boat with us, man.
Well,
that
I
was
appreciate
awesome.
you asking me.
I'll tell you what, grab some of these rigs and try them out. And if you have any questions for Art, you know, I guess you could email me and we'll find a way to have them get a hold of you or something. But I know that you do seminars. You're going to be doing the Sportsman's Expo for how many years in a row now?
It'll be 19 in March.
19 in March, and I'll be there probably. But you learn a lot. I've learned more in the day that I've had, the half a day that I've had with Art about crappie and the way to go about catching these fish than I've ever done before. I usually catch them by accident, so you know it's hard to say I'm a big-time crappie fisherman. But man, I've learned a lot from you today. I'm going to take to the bank without a doubt.
I appreciate that. You know, they can watch. In early December, we're planning on one at Bass Pro Shop.
There you go, yeah.
On crappie.
Yeah,
so,
we'll get that done too, and make sure you stop by and say hi to Art for sure, because you'll learn a lot from him. And I appreciate you coming on. It's been a dream of mine to be able to have you on. Like I said, it's been a great day. Had fun catching some crappie. Different day for me, for sure, but get to go out with a legend like this just made my day. I appreciate it, buddy. Casey told me to. Thanks so much, folks. We'll see you next week. For Art Chamberlin, I'm Johnny Johnson. We'll see you next week on Fishing with Johnny Johnson.
Good fishing.
Now, see, that's what I'm talking about, folks.